Hello and welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell, the Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Library. First of all, I would like to thank TV47 for allowing us to showcase our programs and activities and our connection with the community here. So thank you, TV47, for allowing us to do that. Today joining me is Dr. Todd Freeman. He's the superintendent of the Sylacauga City School System. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Mandy.
Right, I'm glad you could make it this morning. Now, y'all have some exciting things coming up, Advanced Ed accreditation, right?
We do, and if you've been a lifelong educator, you know that Advanced Ed used to be called SACS, which was the Southern Association for Colleges and Schools. And over the years, it's changed names and changed a lot of things. But every 5 years, we get an accreditation visit. And basically, Mandy, what that is a checkup to make sure we're doing the things that we should be doing to further the cause of education for our students.
Right. This is not a one-day visit or a one-day process, I'm
Well,
sure.
it's not. Actually, it starts early in the year, and I'll kind of give you just an idea of what we've been doing the last several months. Back in May, we started with an initial survey to our teachers to get an idea of their perception of how our schools are doing, what our strengths are, where our areas for improvement need to be. And so we've spent the summer using a lot of that information to help us plan. But it really gets started full speed as the school year starts, and this accreditation process will take us all the way through February for a culminating event then, which is when a team from other schools across the Southeast will come to visit us for 3 days, and they'll give us a report. But the timeline basically is this. We start at the beginning of the school year putting together our plans at our schools that are continuous improvement plans. Now we do that every year. The difference this time, though, is we're trying to be mindful of the things the accreditation team is wanting to see.
Sure.
So we have school level teams planning, and we have system level teams planning. And our system level team has met twice, and we've had some really good conversation. And that's a group of stakeholders from all over the community. Those are leaders within our community, retired teachers, some of our current educators are in that group. So we try to find a very diverse group that meets to look at what we're doing as a system to move forward.
Now, when you talk about stakeholders,
yes,
exactly what is I know you kind of...
Yeah, that's the term we use a lot in education, but it basically means everybody that has some connection to education. And in our community, we think that's everybody. You know, the reality is about 70% of any given community do not have children in the school system, but that 70% are taxpayers, so they're all a part of the community. So when we pull teams together, such as this accreditation district team, we've got, as I said, city council members, we've got the mayor that's a part of this process, some of our business partnerships. Ms. Thomas from the library, of course, is with us, and she provides a valuable service as well. SAFE is a part of that as a stakeholder. Parents, it's any group of people, any demographic that we think has some involvement with our system. So we try to be very diverse with that.
I think that's wonderful to involve the whole community in that. And I like the way you said you start with those people who work in the schools with the self-assessment. That's the people who know what's going on day to day.
It is, and we start asking just ourselves questions. What we're doing is we're self-diagnosing right now.
Okay.
So we're talking to stakeholders, and one of the things that we're doing as we speak is we've got a survey open for our parents.
Yes.
And that opened on September the 12th, and it closes September 22nd. Okay. So through this week that we're in now, it's open, and you can access it online. We sent letters to all of our parents, but not everybody may see those.
Right.
They go home. So you can do it online. You can do it from our website. You can do it through, at home. If you don't have a computer, you can do it at the library. The library has it open.
Make a plug for the library. We have public use computers. You just need a library card. Actually, if you come upstairs, we have an iPad set up to where you can take the survey right there while your children are looking for great books.
That's right. I was going to say that. They can be reading while you're doing the survey. So
that's right.
That's an important piece for us because we're hearing from parents to know, what are you saying about our system, the things we're doing well, what would you like to see change, improvements you would like to see make. This is a critical part of the self-diagnosis we do. Once that survey is completed, we start looking at it as school-based teams and as our district team to see what the feedback is. We hear from our parents, we hear from our teachers, we hear from our students. So we're trying to get all of that data together to diagnose ourselves. So through October and November, we'll be looking at data. We'll be largely looking at this survey information.
Great. And then making lots of plans from
Yes,
that.
yes.
I know you will be. That's wonderful. And please do come take the survey. Parents, students, things
That's
you
right.
want
Parents,
to hear
students,
from.
and teachers are all taking that survey. So like I said, that feedback's real important, and it's anonymous, and that's important too, because you can say what you feel. And look, I'll tell you, the survey offers opportunities for comments where you can just free write some things, and that we get very valuable information from that. So that I encourage you to do that as well. And once that wraps up, Mandy, we start looking toward February when our team comes and visits us. Between now and then, what's happening at our school, in addition to the surveys, is that our teachers are part of an observation process that the accreditation team looks at. And so we go into the classrooms, our administrative teams do, and we look at what's happening in the classroom and how instruction is impacting students. So that is the other piece of our self-diagnosis that we will be doing leading up to the team coming to see us in February.
That's wonderful. That's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
But it's good.
It is. It's a checkup for us, and we do annual health checkups, but this one's that 5-year checkup for us, and so that timeline, while it seems like a long, we'll finish most of our work in November. We'll get it all packaged together. Our lead team, Carol Martin, who is leading this process for us, will put it all together and package it and have it ready for the team when they come in February.
That's great. Now I heard Carol speak at an Arts Council meeting, and
Yes.
kind of the plan here that you did. We talked about the self-assessments, the surveys, reviewing the data in the surveys, and creating improvement plans, things that we do. System updates, improvement plan with the strategic plan.
Yeah, well, that's right. The whole idea of the accreditation process is to look at all of the factors that go into the learning process for students. So the framework basically is this, is there's a foundational piece of 3 components that the accreditation team looks at. The first is our leadership capacity. And that is our Board of Education's policy making, if it's in line with doing things that are best for students, and it certainly is.
Yes.
Our administrative team and how we lead through professional development and growth and provide the spaces for our kids to do well. The next domain is learning and what's actually happening in the classroom, and do we have all of the things necessary in our classes? Do we have the teachers that we need? Do we have the materials that we need, and so forth? The final domain is resources. And so how do we use all of the things in our school system, from maintenance to transportation to child nutrition, to all of those ancillary things, to make sure that we've got a great environment for our kids to learn? So that's the foundational piece of what Advanced Ed asks for. And when schools are doing their planning part, they look at 7 domains. I won't go over those with you, but the school, each of the schools have several different factors they're looking at to make sure that they're planning something that's going to be effective for kids. And that has to do with engaging kids, high expectations, having a healthy culture, having a unity of a mission that we have, making sure they're using resources as they should, and also making sure all of those stakeholders are continuously involved in the education process.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like a lot of work,
Well,
but
it is.
what a wonderful thing to do for our children. We're going to take a quick break for commercial, and hope you'll join us after the break.
Hi, it's Shawnee McNeil at South First Bank. This is a great time for you to buy or build a new home, or maybe refinance your present mortgage. Our rates are the lowest they've been in years, and that means saving you money. We've been helping our customers become homeowners in this area for nearly 70 years, and we can make our approvals right here in the office, and that means saving you time. We're located here in downtown Sylacauga. Come in and find South First, a better way to bank.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by today and see us. Marble City Pharmacy, where your health comes first.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Hello and welcome back to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell from the B.B. Comer Library. I'm talking with Dr. Todd Freeman, who's superintendent of the Sylacauga City School System. And we've been talking about the accreditation team coming in February, I believe, and all the work that goes into that before they come. One thing you talked about is the strategic plan, and I have actually a copy of this right here. Wonderful things. Tell us a little bit about what this is and how you use that.
Yes, 5 years. As I said earlier, the accreditation visits come every 5 years, and so the last one was 2013, and we'll have ours again in February 2018. That plan visit said a lot of really good things about our system, one of which was parent engagement, community engagement. That's something I think we're very fortunate in Sylacauga to have, is that level of involvement, and not just involvement, but actually being engaged. And so that was a strength. One area that they suggested that our system take on is to develop a strategic plan. And I happened to arrive in the summer after that accreditation visit, so it was a perfect opportunity to start this process. And what I like best about the strategic plan that we have is it was very much driven by our community and stakeholders. Basically, I didn't really involve myself. I had an outside facilitator that met with teachers, met with parent groups, met with students. We did surveys to formulate what is it we want our system to be about. And from that was this strategic plan. Now, we do take this plan is aligned with a lot of the goals of the accreditation process Advanced Ed. So we focus on 4 things, which is leadership and governance, and we focus on teaching and learning, and we focus on the resources and support systems our students need, and we also look at continuous improvement and collaboration. So there are 4 different goals to that process, and these are all outcomes of what the last accreditation visit accomplished. So I'm pleased to see that we're starting now in our 4th year of this strategic plan.
Great. This is wonderful. I mean, even in life, everybody needs a goal, a vision, things to work for. And written down.
They do, and each year what we try to do is look at what we've done during the school year and assess if we've accomplished what our goals were, and then what are our goals moving forward for the year. So this plan is reflective of what we saw 5 years ago and what we're trying to do moving forward. There are a lot of interesting things about strategic planning that I really get into the plan part. Not everybody necessarily gets into that part, but I love to see the data going on. And what happens in schools is oftentimes we judge our schools based just on academic scores, but that strategic plan said there's so many more things to what makes a good school system. We're proud of the work we do in academics. We want to improve and grow upon those things, but our plan addresses the whole way that we can help improve our students' learning opportunities.
That is great. Now, I will ask a question. The first one is governance and leadership. When you say governance, kind of explain what that means.
Governance is a hard one to understand sometimes. It's a really good question, Mandy. Governance really is what the Board of Education does. And one of the chief responsibility of a Board of Education is that there are policy makers. And so they develop policy that it is then my duty and administrators and teachers all the way to implement that policy. And so governance has everything to do with the very top layer of a organization. And so they set these policies up that have to do with instruction, how we treat our students, our personnel. It has to do with finances, resources, all of those things. And what they do is they just set up guidelines or parameters for us to operate within. And so that's the chief responsibility. And the accreditation team is very mindful of governance and what it means and what it does not mean. And one of the things that accreditation teams are looking for is to make sure the board is operating as policymakers and not day-to-day decision makers. That there's a very distinctive difference in that. Certainly they're a part of all of the things going on in our school system, but what accreditation teams look at is a board that governs through policy and not through micromanagement. We're really blessed. We have a fantastic board. I could talk to you a whole segment about that, but we've got board members that are connected in so many different ways. In fact, one of our board members not only serves on my board, but serves on the higher education board, and also serves on the library board.
Yes,
and so we think
Yes,
that's really
we like
important
it.
because it keeps a lot of the networking of our stakeholders at the table.
They're very active and involved,
Yes.
not only in the school system but in the community.
Absolutely. Parents, you're correct, they've got kids in the system, so they look at the things through a different lens as a parent, as a professional, and as a board member, and that's really a good way to have a governing team. So the governance part is their responsibility. The leadership part is what I do and what our team of administrators does.
Right. That's great. So now you will look at this and see, how much of this did we do, or are we continuing to work on it?
That's
and
right.
come up with another strategic plan after the group. Or
that's exactly
similar
right.
to
We'll next year will be in our last year of this 5-year plan. So next year, as an outcome of the accreditation visit, we'll be rebuilding a strategic plan. We'll be looking 5 more years ahead to see how we've done. One of the things that we do to diagnose our impact with strategic plans, we use what we call a balanced scorecard, and you can find that on our website if you're really interested in that level of data. But we're looking at all of the things that are part of educating our students, from the teaching part to materials to transportation to the food that we serve to the condition of the buildings. We'll look at all of those things and grade ourselves to make sure we're doing what we need to do so our kids have the best chance to learn.
That's great, because it's not just what's in the classroom.
That's right.
That's great part of it, but it's so much more than that.
It is, Mandy, and I always say, I would say a good official, a good referee at a ball game is one that you never really know they're out there, but the game is being played well and the kids are abiding by the rules and so forth. And I really see a system that way, a school system that way, which includes all our stakeholders, that the classroom is where it's all happening. And if the air conditioning is running, if technology is working, if we have the support that we need, then none of those things you really know are going on, they're just taking place. And that's what our job is in leadership, to provide an atmosphere where learning can take place.
Well, that's great. Well, I tell you, many of us, I don't have children in the school system now. It's just been a few years since I have, but I'm a graduate of Sylacauga. I live here, and I still want great things to happen for the school system. So
it's one of the powerful things about our community is we have a lot of legacy still here, and a lot of retired teachers here. There is much appreciation and pride, and the importance of education still exists in our community, and I feel very fortunate to be a part of that.
Well, I'm glad, and I'm so glad you and your family are here. I know I've been particularly excited that the arts have come back to the high school and the middle school and those places.
Yeah.
My daughters would have just eaten that up. But
yeah, I think so.
But
based
I think it's
on,
wonderful.
Yeah, I know
It's wonderful,
your children are very talented, and that the arts are an important part of my life. It's something that we've made a priority in our strategic plan, and it's been fun to watch the last 4 years that come to fruition.
I've been to band competitions or band concerts and show choir, and I've seen students whose lives have been affected by that.
There are 3 pillars in my philosophy about education that are important, and they come through in our strategic plan, and it's the academics, it's athletics, and it's arts.
Yes.
And so I kind of have this 3-legged stool of the 3 A's, I call them, that are all important parts of teaching and learning, and that comes through in our plan goals.
It does, and I'm very excited about that. Well, we're going to take another commercial break, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more about the accreditation team.
Looking for a great pre-owned car or truck? Come visit the Collins family at Stop and Shop Auto Sales. Owned and operated by Bobby and Anderson since 1996, and now with the newest member of the team, George Collins. We specialize in quality trucks from Ford and Chevy, and also carry a variety of dependable cars and SUVs. All of our vehicles are professionally serviced and checked for safety and reliability. So come see us today in Sylacauga at 230 West 1st Street, or call 256-249-0322.
In Alabama, there are 2 things we take serious: football and barbecue. And at August Barbecue, we take our business serious. Our meat is smoked daily to give you the freshest and best quality. Ask about our daily vegetable specials. And don't forget about our beef brisket, served up every Thursday and Friday. We have a great outdoor seating area to enjoy the best live music around every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Great service, great atmosphere, and great food. August Barbecue. You can taste the difference.
CallTheShield.com is the solution to pest and termite problems. APS shields your home from termite infestation, unwanted pests, mold and water intrusion, sagging floors, and unhealthy lawns. Visit calltheshield.com to schedule your free evaluation. That's calltheshield.com to schedule your free evaluation. Alabama Professional Services, protection for your home.
Hello and welcome back to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantor from the B.B. Comer Library. Joining me is Dr. Todd Freeman, the superintendent of the Sylacauga City Schools. We've been talking about the Advanced Ed Accreditation team coming and all that leads up into that. And now I want to get to some snapshots that you sent. So Robert, if you can roll those and tell us what's going on in these pictures.
Well, one of the things that is an emphasis part of our strategic plan that our accreditation team will see this year is a heavy emphasis on literacy in the early grades. And we know, Mandy, by third grade, if students aren't able to read, to learn, then we've got a real problem on our hands. So we have a great focus in our early grades at Indian Valley on reading and literacy. So what you're seeing is right now some kids at Indian Valley that are doing some studies, and they're doing a lot of things related to literacy. And we use what we call early literacy groups. That is a very intensive, several hours a day of instruction on reading. Here's one of our teachers that's doing a reading group. That's a part of that work at Indian Valley as well. And so we immerse our kids in reading. Right now at grades K2, we're teaching them how to read so then they can read to learn when they get in third grade. So that's what you see taking place there. We've got students, and here's some pictures of some students at Pinecrest. And they're doing the same things, but what they begin to do is to start focusing more on literacy and mathematics. And now math is happening in the early grades, but we're really beginning to hit it hard in third, fourth, and fifth grade, and you're seeing some of that. Here's a great picture of some students at Nichols Lawson that actually have, no, it's actually at the high school, and these students have Chromebooks in their hands, and this is one of the major initiatives we've put in place this year in grades 3 through 12 is every student in those grades has a Chromebook. And so what we try to do is to focus on eliminating some of the barriers to learning and closing the equity opportunity gap that we have, and so all of our students are able to use this, and it has tremendous potential because what it does is it opens up our children to the worldwide web of information. It also brings with it a great deal of responsibility.
That's true.
One of the other things that's a part of our strategic plan is our focus on science, technology, engineering, and math. And here's a science classroom, AP Biology classroom, where they're learning about a lot of things biology related. Miss Lewis does a fantastic job, and her kids have really done well on her advanced placement exams. But science is a heavy emphasis for us throughout our schools. We really start that at an early age. We actually have a STEM lab at Indian Valley this year that Mr. Abner implemented. So from the very early ages, we try to connect the sciences, the engineering, mathematics, technology to all things education.
Good.
This is one of our fourth grade mathematics classes. Miss Harmon is one of our outstanding teachers, and you see that they're doing some work on their Chromebooks as well. And so what you will see when you come into our buildings this year is a lot of immersive use of technology, but it doesn't do everything for us, but it is another tool that we're able to use. And look, the engagement piece alone, the picture says a whole lot when you look at those children smiling and they're engaged. There's something about it that draws their attention to those screens, and we use that to help learn.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, another pillar of our process for helping our kids be developed socially, emotionally, physically is in athletics, and you can see our football team practicing earlier this year. They're practicing out in our stadium that we renovated. That was part of our strategic plan to do some great renovations in our athletic areas as well as our academic areas. And then a third pillar I talk about in schools is in the arts, and part of our strategic plan has been expanding the arts program, and we have added a choral program over the last 3 years. We've added another band instructor into our program the last 2 years. We added art into our elementary school, so every child in grades K through 5 has art and music with a teacher. So we think that's real important, and you know, this picture just says a lot, I think, about the culture of our school. Our school is about 2,200 kids, then we call ourselves a family, and that's a very typical picture you would find in our system. And you know what, the culture of a school and the family atmosphere goes a long way in its success. Here's a picture of our pre-K students. We've got 3 pre-K classes from the Alabama First Class Pre-K program, and they're getting a tour of the Child Nutrition Lab that day. That's Ms. Haynes' class. And they're learning about what happens in the kitchen every day, the intricate work that goes on there. But pre-K, we're in our third year of this program. It is a fantastic program that we believe is one of those critical areas to overcoming some of the deficits that our children may have that enter into kindergarten. Mandy, you may know this, you probably do, but why I think the library is such an important partner in any city and any school system is that if you look at children that come from impoverished homes where there's poverty versus children who come from affluent homes, by the time they get to kindergarten, there's as much as a 30 million word gap. In other words, they've been exposed to 30 million more words than those children that grew up in poverty. And so pre-K is one of those places where we can help minimize that deficit. Having a robust library in a community like B.B. Comer is that can provide all of these things that anybody can come and read. I can't tell you how valuable that is to us, because those type partnerships before they ever walk in our doors are critical to helping us be able to do the things we need to do for our kids by the time they leave us in 12th grade.
Right. Well, we're excited. We see a lot of the students coming in to check out books or to just enjoy the library. So we are so glad. And I like the way you talked about the Chromebooks.
Yes.
I know a lot of younger students will really, maybe they don't want to do classwork, but if it's on a computer, oh my goodness, they're all about that.
It is.
Read or whatever.
It is, and one of the things you want technology to be is to be an accelerator for learning. You don't want it to be a detractor. We all know that the power technology has for good and the power it has for bad. And so part of our responsibility, we believe in education now more than ever, as part of our Digital by Design is responsibility, helping our kids learn how to responsibly use technology and how the footprint that you will have in your social media and all of the things that you do online will follow you forever. So this is education today, and why I think having it in their hands is so important, and it certainly engages students in a way that we've never been able to before.
That's great. We have about a minute left. Anything you want to share about the school system? What's going on?
Yeah, well, I could talk a long time about things in our strategic plan, but in our goals of supporting students, one of the great things I'm excited about this year are increasingly we're finding ways to help support the whole child, things that are outside the classroom. We added 2 counselors this year to our high school and middle school. We added an intervention specialist into our district office. We have a great partnership with AltaPoint that provides a mental health therapist for our schools. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that we have all of the things wrapped around our students that they need to be supportive. That's an exciting thing happening this year.
Well, we just appreciate, I especially do, all the things you've done for our school and our community, and so glad that you and your wife and your precious boys are here in town with us.
Well, we consider it to be an honor to be here and raising our kids, so thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Well, thank you for joining us on Library Connection, and hope to see you at the library.